Yay. All right, let me open the chat, people. Hold up. All right, chat's open. Good morning. Welcome, everybody. Chat's open. Happy Tuesday, Taco Tuesday. One of our favorite days. Now I can hear you guys. Hey, Vijal. Hey, Juan. Good morning, Steve.
Wow, Alexa, I see a lot of new names.
I know. Come on
Welcome
in,
to everyone.
guys.
And some familiar ones. There's George Crawford, Irv Blander. Hi, guys.
Hey, Dawn. Hey, Christine. Hey, Scott. Hey, Libby. Love that you guys are here. All right, we're gonna try to go live on Facebook. Let's see if it works. We've been testing some new things. Hey, Rick. Hey, Aisha. There's our superstar. Christina, welcome. Aldo, thanks for coming in. Oh, Francisco, he blessed us coming in today. Marlena, our newest member. Love that you're here. Get started in just a moment. Gonna get everybody a chance to hop in here. Looks like everyone's on time today, which I love. How's everybody doing? Good morning, Bijou, John, Annie, Monty. Miss you guys. Lisa. All right, let's do this thing. All right, welcome. Good morning, everyone. Happy Tuesday. Thanks for joining our webinar today. This is a Next Million Mastermind webinar where we are going to take you through a journey today. And my name's Alexa. I'm the COO at BPM RIA. That's Broward Palm Beach, Miami-Dade Real Estate Investors Association. We have some awesome guys in the virtual building. They're going to chat about the condo market. Is it on fire? Is it blazing? Is it melted? I don't even know, but let's see what co-founder of Next Mill Mastermind. He is one of the Fab Five, which if you don't know who they are, we'll teach you. Don't worry, we'll teach you. And then we also have Peter Zalewski. He is the condo expert that we have today. He's the founder of Condo Vultures Realty LLC, and a lot of you guys know him, and that's why I'm really happy to see you guys popping in today. So thank you guys for showing up and showing out for our webinar. We have a lot that we're going to talk about today, but just to get us started on a super positive note, we will be having a raffle today. We will be giving away a $2,000 discount. Love that for our mastermind. So the mastermind raffle, all you need to do is text the word million to this phone number you see on the screen. I'll put the details in the chat for you guys. But we're gonna raffle $2,000 discount to join in the mastermind. We'll announce the winner at the very end. So good luck. Go ahead and text that word to that number, and we will let you know who's the winner at the very end of today's session. So see you on the other side. All right, my favorite way to keep up with Next Mill Mastermind events, it's super easy. All you need to do is text the word or the letters, I should say, NMM to 954-250-6777. That will get you the text updates whenever we have a webinar like this or we have a workshop coming up. You will get a little text notification straight to your phone with the registration link, with the details, the time, location, all that good stuff, just to make it super easy and convenient for you guys so you can stay connected with us and not miss out on any networking opportunities, learning opportunities, so on and so forth. So we want to see you guys keep on coming out. We have another believe we have a workshop and another webinar this month. So we are going to keep you guys busy. I promise you that. And where you can keep up with the events. And I believe we even have like a better, newer website that I don't have it in here, but I will drop it in the chat. So check out the chat, check out our cool new website. It's pretty sick if you ask me. I'm a big fan, so check it out. That is going to be the link where you can find the upcoming events. Check us out, see our vibe, see what we do, and also apply. Most importantly, you're going to want to apply today. You're going to get rewarded for applying today. And also, our winner for the raffle must apply today as well. So you might as well go apply before this webinar ends. And I am going to go ahead and stop sharing and let you guys know that we are have like at least one more webinar and one more workshop, and we have at least two more webinars for you guys next month. So even though it's the summer, we are not slowing down. We are halfway through the year. You would be amazed at how many calls are I'm getting booked right now because people can feel it. They feel that we're halfway through the year. They know what's the deal. They know if they start now by the holidays, they're going to be rocking and rolling. So, with that being said, just a few housekeeping rules before these guys take over. We would love to get those questions that you all have in the Q&A box. So please, please, please put your questions in Q&A. You will see also some poll questions popping up on your screen. So be ready for those poll questions. My panelists, guys, Jim and Peter, just don't even worry. Just push those to the side if you see it pop up on your screen. We want to ask you guys a couple poll questions today just to get a feeler of where you guys are at. It helps us understand where you guys are at so we can gear the webinar towards you and really understand where you guys are at today. So thank you guys for also checking out the chat box. I'll be dropping helpful links in the chat throughout the webinar today. But like I said, we don't want to miss any of your questions. So please pop those questions for the guys in the Q&A box. You'll see it in your Zoom menu. Check out the chat and look out for those poll questions. But without further ado, I'm going to hand it off to my fellow founder, Jim, and you can give Peter, I'm sure you could give Peter a way better introduction than me. You guys are the experts here. I'm just the liaison of the experts.
Thank
So
Thank
thank
you,
you guys for
Alexa. And
having the
Alexa, I don't know if you noticed, but our winner of the raffle last time, Marlena, is here. And Marlena joined us. We want to welcome Marlena. She's a great addition. She's been in the Broward community for many years. A lot of people know her. So thank you. The raffle does work, and she took great advantage of it, and we want to welcome her with open arms. Um, Peter Zalewski and I go back a long way. We both are Daily Business Review alumni, if you can believe that. That's how I got to Florida. And Peter got his start in journalism probably before the Daily Business Review. But he has been a great friend of Drea. So before I got one more announcement, if that's okay. Um, Let me just
Yes,
see if I can share this real quickly.
absolutely. Thank you, Jim.
Are you seeing it? Seeing my screen there?
Yes, sir. Yes.
Okay, so
Oh, I can't wait for this.
our buddy and co-founder of Next Mill Masterminds, Sean McMurray, will be the guest at Dria's next meeting, June 18th. DJ will be moderating the meeting, and it'll be a great, great, great time. So we don't want you to miss that. It's going to be very, very, very helpful. Um, Now let me see if I can get to the next screen.
Love it. Try maybe your arrow. I like to use the arrow. Sometimes I click and it goes to.
There we go.
It's kind of like
All right. Now you see Peter, right? There's Peter's contact details. I will flash that to you a little bit later. But just so you have it, he's the founder of the Miami Condo Intelligence Report, and he'll describe to us the Miami Condo Cliff Index. That's proprietary. You're going to be very interested in that. So I'm going to stop sharing. And Peter, unmute yourself. And I always call him like Chatty Cathy, right? You pull the string, and here he goes. He's got a half an hour, so put your questions in.
Nice. Good morning, everybody. Thank you, Jim, for the invitation. Thanks you, Alexa, sorry about that. Thank you for the invitation. I'm always honored any single time Jim reaches out. Anybody, Viju, Drea, love what they do. They call, I answer their phone call simply because I got a lot of respect for what they do and what they're ultimately spreading the word about in terms of the real estate world. Now, the area I focus on is condominiums. A lot of you say, I don't like condominiums. There's maintenance fees, special assessments, there's property managers, there's associations, there's condo commanders. Everybody thinks it's a sucker's bet, and many times it can be. And right now at this time, it is. However, things are changing, and as things change, there's going to be opportunities. Jim, I don't know if you would compare, if you would agree with me or not, but I'm getting the feeling of 2006, 2007. And if you don't remember what happened last go around, 2006 is when about we peaked. We started stabilizing or neutralizing in '07. '08, we were ready to crash. Lehman Brothers, the Black Swan event occurs in September of 2008, and all of a sudden, all hell breaks loose. And once all hell broke loose, what happened is the people who had like front loaded it and started to do their research in anticipation, they were the ones who were able to move quickly and take stuff down at prices that were far below replacement costs. Is it going to be the same way this time? That's yet to be determined. Why is it yet to be determined? Because we got a bunch of different characteristics playing out all at the same time. One characteristic, let's talk about on the macro perspective. Everything going on in Washington, whether it be the Federal Reserve, it be the immigration policy, stuff like that. Because of all of that, we're effectively getting what I called at the beginning of summer. And our summer, the way we look at it, is May through October. So we have two seasons down here from a condo perspective. You have the summer buying season, you have the winter buying season. Summer goes May through October, winter goes from November through April. So in the summer, right as we were getting into it, the call I made is that we were in a summer of paralysis by analysis or a wait and see, whatever you want to say. Because of tariffs, because of the uncertainty, because of a variety of other things that are going on, as we start to recalibrate our economy and our direction, look for nothing to happen probably till Labor Day. Now, why do I say that? Simply because you had the first round of tariffs that came out, then there was a pause, 90-day pause that comes due on July the 9th. Then you had a China situation, which there was a 90-day pause, and that comes due at the end of or the middle of August. So what you're seeing there really, and we all know down here in South Florida, August, everybody they go on vacation. They take their kids away to Disney. They're going to do whatever they're going to do because school starts in August. And then lo and behold, after Labor Day, you're kind of ready to rock and roll. So this summer, wait and see. Nothing is going to trade, nothing of consequence unless there's great deals. We have sellers who are getting faced with all kinds of repercussions due to the Surfside collapse. And what they're being forced to do increasingly is a downward pressures on, and they're looking at price drops going forward if they want to get out. Now, inevitably, what happens is all the rats are stuck on the ship. Once one rat sort of jumps off the ship, then they all start to go, and you don't want to be the last rat on the ship. And these are the dilemmas being faced by why are they feeling the pressure? They're feeling the pressure because of maintenance fees. They're on the rise. If you look at overall pricing, Miami-Dade County for maintenance fees, ballpark figure is at least $1.05 a square foot based on First Service. That's a very large property service, property management company. If you're in a tower with many more units, you're looking at a starting price of about $122 a foot. What does that mean? That means when you walk in your bathroom, I want you to look around, look down at your feet, and try to figure out what is the square footage. And I want you to apply $1.22 a square foot for every single inch of that. And this is why people are starting to really feel the pressure. Why? Because you have the maintenance fees, you have your property taxes. Remember, we all were excited. Oh, values went up. This is great. All the New Yorkers came here. The Californians, they bid up the price. There was, over and above. Well, now's the time to pay the piper. Why? Because property taxes are 2% of your value. And based on the 2% of your value, a third's going to the school boards, a third's going to the county, a third's going to the city. So now many people who were very happy that they got this rapid appreciation, now they're being faced with the fact that they got to pay a tax bill. So you got the tax bills are going up. Why? Because valuations are going up. The government's not necessarily raising the rate, but the value is simply increasing it, especially if you're an investor. So you got that. You got the maintenance fees that have gone up. And by the way, keep in mind about 22% of your maintenance fee, if you were in a condo, it's going to go towards insurance. We all know what's going on in the insurance industry. Maybe some of you don't own. Maybe you have car insurance. Well, you're paying a higher rate now than you were before. Why? They're in the business of making money, but more importantly, there's been a bunch of stuff that sort of forced them to maybe not make as much as they want, and now they're trying to reclaim that, if you will. So this is kind of our summer. This is kind of what we're dealing with. So nationally, internationally, you have everything going on with tariffs. You have everything going on with immigration. Tourism numbers are down. I was taking a look at, and that's critical to a place like South Florida. South Florida, generally speaking, 6.5 million people, of which you're looking at about 32% foreign born. If you go to a place like Miami-Dade County, 54% foreign born. So as you start to see a decline or a decrease in immigration numbers, and Miami International numbers as of March were down. The April numbers hadn't been released yet. But what that means is you're going to have less people going into the restaurants. You're going to have less people going into the stores, less people going to hotels, less people going to the clubs. So you start to feel this slowdown. So you couple all of that with the fact that Surfside occurred. The condo collapse in Surfside in June of 2021. Nearly 100 people died. $1 billion with a B settlement with paid out to the families of the victims. Insurance companies responded. They told the state, we need to do this, 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 and that. If you don't do it, we're not going to insure. The state has done that, and this has led to these hefty special assessments, these rising maintenance fees, as well as the insurance. Let me give you a ballpark figure. If you are out there in the condo market looking to play, now if you're an owner, this is a kiss of death. If you were a buyer, this means you're getting a discount because the seller's probably going to have to cover it. Generally speaking, from what we're seeing, and we haven't been able to study it thus far, generally speaking, if you were in a building that has 3 floors or less, it's condominium, you're probably looking at about a $25,000 special assessment if it's an older building. We call these older buildings, we call them vintage. That's the 30-year mark. Why is it vintage at 30-year mark? Well, this is a new requirement that was put in place as a result of Surfside. It's called a milestone inspection. So at the year 30, a licensed engineer or licensed architect has to come in. They have to analyze it. They have to roll up the sleeves and really kind of get in there and figure out what's going on. Then they come out with an estimate of what it's going to cost to fix everything and anything that's around there. So that's called a milestone inspection. And I will tell you, this milestone inspection leads to hefty special assessments. So because of that, the milestone inspection, we call it vintage. We put it in a whole separate category. Everybody used to talk about real estate was location, location, location. If you're playing a condo game, it has nothing to do with location. It's age, age, age. You want to focus on a building of a certain age, and based on the building of a certain age, you can anticipate if you're going to be able to make money or if you're going to kind of lose your, I'm not sure if I can curse or not, but you would lose more than you probably would. So these are some of the issues we have playing out right now. This is some of the pressure, the downward pressure that's being felt. And as a result, the big picture is, as we sit here in June, we got too much supply. We got nobody buying. We got a summer of paralysis by analysis or wait and see, and we have insurance prices going up. And all of that is contributing basically to a wait and see, basically to an environment which, in my opinion, very comparable to where we were before the Lehman Brothers crash back in 2008. And once the Lehman Brothers crash occurred, everything sort of blew out. And we were buying and we were working. I'm a licensed broker. I don't really practice too much. I'll do some institutional type of stuff. I mostly do consulting. I do expert witness work. I got this club that Jim was talking about. I also do tours. Anybody that wants to go walk and talk condos, I do tours. I'm doing one this Saturday in Greater Downtown Miami, where basically I teach people how to analyze condo buildings. A lot of times it's about, figure out the building and then you find a unit. Too many people chase around after units and they don't know the building. And once they get the understanding of the building, now they're realizing the fundamentals aren't necessarily there. So I teach people kind of how to figure out buildings and kind of if they make sense and if they don't make sense. So that's where we sit right now in June. We have basically a stalled market. The market's going nowhere. Transactions have fallen off a cliff. Prices are starting to fall. Tomas Regalado, he's the property appraiser for Miami-Dade County, former mayor of Miami. I think he was a commissioner as well. He came out last Monday and with his estimates of what values will be, so the school board, the county, and the city can start to put together their budgets for the upcoming fiscal year. And what he found is that appreciation overall real estate was going up 8% or so in terms of valuations. But what he also found is condos are starting to collapse. And condo pricing is always the last thing to go. Why is it the last thing to go? simply because you have people who hold out, and or you have value buyers who are looking for a discount on good quality stuff. Think about right after the holidays. If you go into, I don't know, Macy's, if anybody does it anymore, you used to go in there and there'd be like a 10 to 20% discount right after the holidays. And then as it went on, you'd get a 70% discount, but it would be a double X sweater with like a big dog on it. So, what the hell good is 70% discount? So that's kind of what you see early on in a downturn or an unwinding of pricing, or even a doom loop. What you'll see is the prices will hold, then they'll start to give way because value buyers come in. They look for discounts on good quality stuff. They kind of got first choice, first dibs. They might be paying too much, but they're getting a discount off of what it was. And the quality stuff trades first versus the other stuff, which does not trade. I just got a poll pop up here really quickly. I don't know how to
Oh
close
yeah,
it. There
just
we go.
push that thing to the side.
All right.
No
All
worries.
right. I closed it. Perfect. So,
Thanks.
all right. So I gave you the general feel. I gave you the general vibe. Let me give you one last tidbit before we kind of drill down into some numbers. And I'm all about telling you stories. I want you to know stories. So let's go through it. 2002, we get this massive boom, greater downtown Miami, all of South Florida. Prior to the boom, we had 11,500 condos in greater downtown Miami. Where do we stand today? 54,000. 20 years. 54,000 units from 11,000. First go around up until the Great Recession, we put up about 22,000 units. We put up another 20 something thousand since then. So we've built up all of this product. All of this product is out there. People are trying to figure out what to do. And this is in addition to any kind of rental product that necessarily might be out in the marketplace. So you got competing interests. You have this rental product and you also have this condo product. It's all brand new. We've had an influx of people who've come because of the pandemic. Remember, you didn't have to wear a mask. And if you wanted to twerk on a police car in Miami Beach, come on down. People love twerking on police cars. So they started buying condos, they started buying them, and they jacked up the prices. And as a result, they built more and they built more and they built more. And everybody's prices have gone up. And everybody was buying thinking, all right, let me retrade out of it. Let me put 10, 20, 30% on whatever I need to do. And I'm going to end up okay. That's, again, kind of the general vicinity, general proximity of where the market is. But let's get into just some real rough numbers, if you will. So when you look at a real estate market, especially a condo market, you want about 6 months of supply. If it's less than 6 months, that means sellers got the advantage. They can say, listen, I got gold, you want it, you're going to pay my price, otherwise piss off. If you got more than 6 months, now the buyer's got the choice. I got this, I got that, I got that. It's not gold, it's copper. I'm going to pay you a copper price. I'm not going to pay a gold price. So that's a very easy way to sort of understand the market. Where do we sit in Miami-Dade County today? We're looking at roughly 16.5 months of supply, 6 months of equilibrium. So we're getting close to 3 times the amount we should be of product that's on the market. Now here's an interesting point for that. This is overall condos. Average asking price a door, $1.2 million is what they want for a condo. I ran the numbers right before we get on here. So looking for 1.2 a door or $712 a square foot. Remember I told you to go in your bathroom, walk around and think about $1.22 a square foot. Well, you're paying $712 a foot. That's what they want. That's 100% what they want. But remember, I said there's old stuff. Remember the vintage stuff, this old product that's over 30 years old. Requirements are put in place by the state where you got to do inspections, licensed architect, licensed engineer. They analyze everything. They roll up the sleeves. They tell you what it's going to cost. Well, what happens there? The vintage market, as I call it, what's the average? Well, let me tell you days on months of supply, 14.6 months of supply. So overall market, 16.5, vintage market, old product, 14.6 months. So again, a buyer's market. So that means if I'm a buyer coming in, I'm going to have negotiating power because there's simply so much out there. Now, I told you overall condos in Dade County, about 1.2 million a door is the ask. What about the vintage? What are vintage going for? 515. Think about that. 1.2 overall, or I can get this one for $515,000 on an asking price. You say, yeah, but Peter, you just said Surfside collapse and you have all these problems. This is where these inspections are kicking in. This is where this milestone inspection kicks in. At the 30-year mark, you got to analyze it by experts. You got to come up with a roadmap for the next 10 years or so. What has to be fixed? What's it going to cost? Now, if you're walking in and let's say you're looking at this $515,000 price point that is the asking price today, and let's say it's a high rise. Remember, if it is a based on special assessments, 3 floors or less, you're looking at $25,000 special assessment. When you're between 4 and effectively 12, because we don't have a 13th floor, 4 and 12, you're looking at between $50 and $75,000 special assessment. When it's over 14 stories, you're probably looking at about $100,000 special assessment. So let's just play the math. Let's say this $515,000 asking price is in a building more than 14 stories tall. Let's say they're getting hit with a $100,000 special assessment. That 515, it just went down to 415. And you say, well, how does that happen? Seller's going to have to take a haircut in order to get out. Otherwise, if you as a buyer, why would you chase it if you got 14 months, 15 months, 16 months of supply? So it all starts to come back to fundamentals. Basically, on the buy side, you got a lot of opportunities right now, but you have to know how to buy right. A real simple way that I tell people to buy or sort of analyze these condos, I use something called a 1% rule. 1% means whatever my rent is, per month, it should represent 1% of the value. So a $100,000 condo needs to get $1,000 a month. $100,000 condo needs to get $1,000 a month. Many people in the industry will push back and say it's impossible, it'll never happen. It may or may not happen, but what it does is it helps you to figure out where should I waste my time and do my due diligence. Otherwise, you just know it's not worth it. And let me give you an example based on the data I was just throwing out there. 1.2 million is the asking price. Based on the 1% rule, you need 12 grand a month in rent to cover it. Okay. A vintage unit asking price is 515, 515,000. Let's take 100 grand off because of special assessment. Let's get the 415. Now you need $4,100 a month rent in order to cover it. What are you getting in Greater Downtown Miami? They're asking $4,000 a month rent, and they're getting 3,600. Now you start to see where the numbers can make sense. So I would tell you, if you're looking at the market, one area to look at is vintage. There's risk involved. You don't know what's going to happen. And always your first special assessment is not the last one. They will continue to come. Think about an older car. If you maintain it and do it properly, it's going to last you a long time, but there will be cost involved. But the flip side is if I go into new product, a lot of new product, downtown Miami, for instance. I'd like to point to that one because that's really the hub of all hell breaking loose. Minimum price in new construction, 1,100 a foot is what they're seeking. Now, what are we in overall in Dade County? About 712 a foot. What are we vintage? About 455 a foot. So you can see it's about 3 times more to buy new construction than it is to buy some of this older product. So there is a niche, there is a window in this vintage product if you can get one of these reports. So if you are go out there kicking the tires, you're looking for a condo, make sure you get a report. If they cannot give you a report, you're basically licking your finger, you're holding up, and you're trying to guess which way the wind blows. Now, if there is a report, now you got some sort of recourse. And what is the recourse? Recourse is there could be lawsuits after the fact. Many condo associations are pursuing right now, they're pursuing financing, they're pursuing loans related to special assessments. Why? Because the special assessments are so big that state legislature, if Governor DeSantis, Ron DeSantis signs off on it, they're going to have the ability to deal with issues related to special assessments by simply getting a loan. Now the banks, and I've done interviews with banks, I've done podcasts with bankers, and what they tell me is if a licensed engineer or licensed architect signs off on this report, we can then put it in our file and we are good to lend on it. So this is why the report is important. Now, if you know a building very well and it does not have a report, I would encourage you to go in and lowball the heck out of it because chances are it could end up in your favor or could work against you. This is where the understanding is going to come in, but everybody will be looking for reports sort of going forward. So really quickly before I hit you with a couple other statistics, I know I'm running out of time here. That's why I'm trying to speak probably faster than I normally do. A couple little tidbits. So if we look at closed sales, and this would have occurred during the winter buying season, it would have been November through April. So this is pretty modern type of stuff. You would have saw that basically the condos are trading for about $852,000 each. Remember, the ask is 1.2, and they're traded for about 851. And then you look at vintage, again, 30 years or more. They ask is about 515,000 a door, and they traded for about 453 a door. Now, let's think about that. The 453 a door in the vintage, let's take 100 grand off because of special assessment. Say it's a taller building. Now you're talking 350 a door. Remember what rents go for. Ask on rents is 4,000 a foot, 4,000 a month. And what are they actually renting at? About 3,600. Now you start to see where there are opportunities. Is the 1% rule going to cover you on everything? 100% not. But it's going to tell you and give you an indication, much like GPS does, as to where you're going. You can anticipate things but understand there's risk involved. But again, the people who move first, they tend to get the advantage. And why would anybody want to buy now? because nobody wants to buy. This is the time nobody wants to buy. We got tariffs, we got immigration, we have this summer of paralysis by analysis, we have Surfside, we have all this chaos. When everybody's running away, that's when your opportunities occur, especially if you do your research and you know it. Now, if you're saying, well, Peter, I don't think it's the right time to buy right now. I'm not buying it. I'm uncertain. Okay. And I would say that's probably a reasonable, rational approach. But what I would also tell you is start doing your homework. You do your homework now. So when we have this black swan, i.e., Great Recession, Lehman Brothers, as soon as Lehman Brothers went down, all kinds of stuff traded. I was doing deals that I had been working on 2 years, and they didn't occur until after Lehman, because Lehman was the sign. It was the start of the race in order to get going. So it's important now to start to do your research if you are going to play the condo game. Now, much of what Drea does and a lot of what it's about is going to be houses and stuff that it's away from the associations. I just want to hit on what I think is an interesting tidbit. The way I look at the world, and I'm a little bit of a different person. The way I look at the world is I look at Interstate 95. Okay, everybody is either down here or they know about South Florida. So I want you to look at Interstate 95. Think about like you're looking at a map. When you were east of Interstate 95, I want you to think back in the day before you had an app called Robinhood or Charles Schwab where you could trade stocks on your phone. Back then, you would make a call to your broker would make a call to somebody on the floor. Somebody on the floor would give an order to a runner. The runner would take it from the phone to the pit where they had this pit and everybody's dressed up in different suits, or not suits, but jackets, and they had different colors and they had a badge and they're all yelling and screaming, hands out, I'm selling, hands in, I'm buying. We've seen it in the movie. Maybe some of us have seen it in person. So when you're east of Interstate 95, I want you to look at the condo market that way. The pit exists, the trading pit. These are not real people worried about a family of 4 and a dog. These are speculators looking to make money. Now, when you go west of 95, these are real people. This is how much does milk cost? How much does gas cost? What's going on with my insurance? So as the condo market goes, it impacts the people. So the condo market to the east of 95, as it starts to go down, it impacts people west of 95. You say, like, Peter, how the hell does that happen? Well, think about how many people you know who maybe do title. They're doing closings, maybe lenders, maybe they sell tile. Maybe they do interior design. Maybe they sell furniture. Maybe they do painting. Maybe do this. So as stuff to the east slows down, it has indirectly affects people to the west. And as it affects people to the west, it creates all types of scenarios. So watch the condo market and pay attention to the condo market, because it will ultimately ripple throughout all of the Tri-County, South Florida area based on everything I could see. Now, one of the things that Jim had mentioned, and Jim or Alexa, you guys might want to give me a heads up when I got about 5 minutes, so I know when I can shut it down. Just
You are killing it right now, Peter. My gosh. And
Oh,
everybody, just a quick reminder, anyone who posted a question in the chat, if you could transfer that over to the Q&A box so we can hit them all at the end. Thank you guys so much.
all right. So I got another 5 minutes or so, 10
at
minutes
least.
at least. Okay. So let me kind of give you some fun stuff. A lot of people like to be a little visual when they're understanding it. You get some blowhard like me on here barking first thing in the morning. You're thinking, oh my God, what am I going to have for lunch? All this stuff. This guy goes on and on and on. I'm sick of looking at his face. So let me give you something prettier to look at least from my perspective. So we're going to see if I can figure out how to do this share. We were playing the game beforehand.
Green
And
button at the bottom.
there we go. Nice and green. All right.
Yeah.
Green. So we're going to go with a nice little chart. So everybody can see the chart. Yeah.
Not
Oh no.
yet.
Now you do. Now you
Yeah.
see the chart.
Yes,
All right.
sir.
So I just want to throw this out to you really quickly. It's not really important to focus on the individual details. What is important, in my opinion, is to focus on the momentum, the range. Okay. So this is what we did. January the 1st of 2025, we called actually in June of 2024, we called a 2025 Florida Condo Association financial cliff. What does a cliff mean? A cliff means, much like we had during the Great Recession, people will start to get squeezed. They'll start to get jammed up because of costs related to maintenance fees, related to special assessments, related to insurance, related to property taxes, all that start to happen. Some people stop paying their maintenance fees. Other people decide not to pay their maintenance fees. You start to have fewer people covering all the costs of everybody. And as that goes forward, all kinds of things are forced to occur. As all these things are forced to occur, the lending dries up. You can't get loans in a bank, in a building anymore, because there's foreclosures or there's people not paying their maintenance fees. And it all just starts to unravel in what we would call a doom loop. So we started on January the 1st of this year. we created 23 indices or individual indexes. So we have an index for South Florida, we have an index for Miami-Dade County, we have an index for Broward County, Palm Beach County, and we go market by market by market, all the way from Coral Gables all the way up going to West Palm Beach. And what we're looking at really simply is active sales, active listings, and pending sales. We're not looking at closed sales. Everybody talks about closed sales, closed sales, closed sales, closed sales. Problem with closed sales is they happened a week ago, a month ago, 3 months ago. By the time they hit the market, who cares? It's kind of like unemployment numbers. This is what happened before. Now, when you want to know what's going on with the economy, or you want to know what the outlook is, you look at the stock market, and they used, what do we have? We have the NASDAQ, we have the S&P 500, we have all Dow Jones. So they use indices in order to track it. So that's what we did for condos. We created indices based on overall condos as well as vintage. Remember, vintage is old ass stuff, 30 years or more. These are the ones that are midlife crisis. And as a tidbit, I would throw out to you, in Hong Kong, when a building hits 60 years, they take it down, just to kind of give you context. So milestone inspections due here at year 30. Think about what they're doing in Hong Kong. Think about how insurance works. Think about how underwriting works. So that's something to sort of keep in mind. So at 30-year mark, you do a milestone inspection, and you are what we call vintage. So let's get to some of the real quick graphics. This is, and we have to update this every Tuesday, so I'll be doing it again today. This is the overall vintage condo market, 30 years or more. You can see from January the 1st where we've gone. And if you look kind of at the dates, if you can make it out, you're going to see that we had a little bit of a run up when everybody was in town. You know, they're in town. They love South Florida. The weather's great. And it went down and went up, and now we are in what looks to be sort of probably a prolonged downturn. That's just South Florida overall. Hold on, there's a little ad for my tours. Do the walking tours. Let me go. There we go. So this is the overall South Florida condo market right now. So you can see where we started at in January. Then we went all the way up because everybody was in town, and now we're starting to really level off. I'll show you the vintage again really quickly. Vintage, we're using blue, and black is what we're doing overall market. Remember, vintage would be 30 years or more. Now, here's Dade County. Here's what we're looking at in Dade County. So Dade County, we started, we went down, and then we went all the way up. People are feeling excited. They were optimistic. They were doing a variety of different things, and it's still got a little bit of a perk. I would argue that any kind of bump you're getting is probably people starting to sell. People who are finally finding they're realizing they need to cut bait on their pricing, and they're starting to sell. Because again, this tracks active listings and pending sales. It's not tracking pricing. It's more so, where is the direction? What is the trajectory of the overall market? And then we'll get into Dade County. This is vintage in Dade County. You see that ski slope down. You're starting to see what looks like you're going to have a real issue on the vintage side of Dade County. Remember, we were talking about take $100,000 off for a special assessment. Factor in the 1% rule. You know, rent's coming in at 3,600. I can get this condo for 350. Now, all of a sudden, you got some possibilities. Let me just show you Broward real quick if anybody is interested about Broward. Broward is it's going to hell in the condo market, just overall, just to be blunt. You can see here from the graphic, from the index, again, pending sales and active listings. That's overall condo market. This will be the vintage market. So Broward County, the sell-off is effectively begun. Remember, Tomas Regalato, he talked about Dade County. He wasn't talking about Broward County. They got a different property appraiser up there. So Broward County, tremendous decrease. Palm Beach County, it's actually going up. Why is it going up? Not only overall, but also vintage. What's going on? You're seeing a Donald Trump effect. You are starting to see people who are buying in and around West Palm Beach, in and around Mar-a-Lago, in and around Palm Beach Island. And we're actually seeing in West Palm Beach, and this blows my mind as part of doing the index, the vintage units, 30 years or more, they're asking and trading for higher prices than the overall market. Why is that? Some people tend to think that these are more conservative buyers. The product is nicer. Remember, it was back in the days. If any of you, maybe it's late at night, you can't sleep, you put on TV, or you're watching videos, you see the Golden Girls. Remember the Golden Girls? Well, the Golden Girls, if you look at that TV show from way back in the day, you see in the reruns, they open up in Miami and they show you the skyline and nothing is built. But back then, if you bought into a condo, it was all about the concierge. It was about the marina, and they gave you a spa, and you had somebody to carry your bags and all that type of stuff. That's how they sold condos back then. Now condos are more of a utility. It's something it's all you can afford. That's where you're going into it. But up in West Palm Beach and parts of Palm Beach County, the product is much more like that, and it's in and around the whole power center of Mar-a-Lago, and as a result of that, we're actually seeing prices go up in West Palm Beach. And you saw from those statistics, it's getting very, very, very interesting. Now, let me try to switch a course really quick. So that gave you an overview of the index. We come out with it every Tuesday. You can check it out on our website, miamicondo.club. We make a lot of the information available. I'm going to share one more if I could. Remember, you guys give me a heads up when it's time when you're going to yank me.
Okay, heads up, a couple more minutes, okay?
All right, couple more minutes. All right, so let me give you a real good, what I think, perspective in terms of the marketplace and where we stand. Let me see if I find it. There we go. All right, sharing. Here we go. This will be where I wrap it up. So this is the 1% rule. This kind of gives you context as to what's going on. These are overall condo prices, price per door, as well as what you need to get based on the 1% rule. Remember, 1 month of rent equals 1% of my value. So if we look at our first one, we're going to see South Florida, $555,000. This is stuff that was traded through the winter buying season. This is the first half of the winter buying season, November, December, January. So $555,000 a door is what they were trading for in South Florida, which meant you need $5,500 a month rent. What were you actually getting in terms of leases? 2,500. So you could see it was about 116% overinflated. Now, just as you scroll down, this will give you context as to what your real pricing should be or where you should be starting. Let's look here at Greater Downtown Miami, $926 a door, which means I need $9,200, $9,300 to rent. I'm getting $3,600, so I'm way out of whack. Let's look at Miami Beach, 1.2 a door. I'm getting $2,750 in rent. So this is a great way to sort of gauge it. West Palm Beach, by the way, 1.4 a door, $14,000 a month is what I should be getting. I'm getting $3,000 a month rent. So just a real simple way to kind of track it. It's not the end all be all, but it helps you figure out where do I waste my time doing due diligence and which ones do I simply pass on. Now, condos are more complicated than a lot of stuff that Jim and Viju and Alexa are getting involved with in terms of single family, multifamily, but there are ways to get in this game and there are ways to sort of take advantage of it. But understand this is a wait and see summer and nobody's doing anything. And typically that's when you have your opportunities, especially if you know what you're doing. And if you think it's too early, start doing your research and you will thank me once we start to see the unraveling of the condo market, not only in Dade County, but probably throughout South Florida. And I'm done.
Oh gosh, that was so good. I'm sorry. I'm just like in awe right now. So, I don't want to interrupt too much, but I know we have a ton of questions for you, Peter. And
Okay.
do you want to read them to him, Jim, or do you want me to?
Yeah, I want to tell everybody, I've known Peter 20 years. He always talks this fast. Don't let him kid you.
I
Um,
loved it. I loved it.
all right.
Jim, as part of the theme, I don't know if you can see this. I have a Bank of Miami mug. Anybody, can you guys make that out?
So
Yeah,
good.
yeah.
Yeah.
This is one of the failed institutions from the Great Recession. I like to collect it. Back in the day, every Friday they would close down a bank at between 2 and 3 o'clock. So I still got remnants, and I'm still thinking about what went on back then, which is where my mind is today about a repeat or something similar. So, anyway, sorry, Jim.
Okay.
Thanks for all the positive in the chat. Really appreciate that too. Sorry, Jim.
Here's a question. Are the milestone inspections special assessments for older buildings the same as the 50 10-year certifications that older buildings are required to have? In other words,
Yep.
yeah.
Okay, so let me kind of lay it out to you. So Hurricane Andrew hits. We all remember that August 1992. Bunch of stuff changes related to building codes, yada yada yada. Ultimately, it does have an impact on the condominium market. Now, what's put in place, and there were some other things prior to that that also had an impact, but roughly before Surfside, Dade, and by the way, I'm not an attorney, check with your attorney. I'm not an engineer, check with your engineer. I monitor, I'm an industry watcher, if you will. So in Dade, Miami-Dade and Broward County, because of insurance company demands, at the 40-year mark in Dade and Broward County, building had to go through an inspection to make sure that it was safe. There was something very unique to Dade and Broward County as a result of Andrew, as well as other stuff. So you got that going on. They've always had to do structural integrity reserve studies. It's called a SIR, structural integrity reserve study. Structural integrity is, let's take a look at it. Reserve is what's it going to cost, and study is you put it all together. So these studies always had to be done, and when they were done, they were given to the condo association. Maybe there's a member of the board who was a New Jersey roofer. And he went up there and said, this guy doesn't know what the hell he's talking about. We're not spending money on it. So the associations back then, they could defer. We don't need it. We don't need it. Let's keep maintenance fees down. Because of Surfside, they can't defer anymore. And that's really where the rubber meets the road. So every 10 years, you got to do a structural integrity reserve study. At year 30, you got to roll up the sleeves and really get in there. So I want you to think of it this way. And this might gross you out before lunch, but I'm going to go with it because it'll stick in your mind. Every 10 years, you go, it's like going to the doctor beginning of the year. You got your insurance. Let me get an inspection, cough, what, all that. Now, when you do your 30-year milestone inspection, the big one, that's like getting a colonoscopy. That's like sitting down. You're going through the whole process. So that's how I want you to think about it. At year 30, coming up to year 30, and by the way, it's based on anniversary of certificate of occupancy. That's how you know what the birthday is. When did it get its CO? That's when you know what's coming up. So if you're out there in the market and you suddenly think you're smarter than everybody else because you got this great deal, be fearful that somebody might be front running the market, trying to get out early, make you think like you're smart, give you a discount because you don't realize that in a year or two, they're going to get hit with a big special assessment. So structural integrity reserve study, every 10 years, you can no longer defer your whatever the experts say. Milestone, year 30, you're getting that colonoscopy and it's going to be painful, if you will. So if anybody's asking what is the best time to go after a condo, I would tell you probably about year 11, because remember, you've gone through the first 10 years. First 10 years, you're getting hit with that first special assessment. Probably year 11 up till about year 22 or so, because by the time you get to 22, now we're going to start to get into this whole realm of a milestone inspection, if that makes sense.
So Peter, something in your chart came to mind when I read this next question about Sunny Isles. Okay.
Sunny Isles, yep.
There's a lot of Sunny Isles inventory. Lisa asked this question about 20 years old. A lot of inventory, and the sellers keep lowering their prices. So what about a 20-year-old condo?
Yeah. Okay. So first and foremost, remember I pointed out the index. So we came out with the ranking based on January through May. What is the best condo market in all of South Florida? All the land, Coconut Grove. What is the worst condo market in all of South Florida based on the index? Sunny Isles Beach. Sunny Isles Beach is a complete shit show. Sorry I don't know if I could say that or not. The difference in overall condos versus vintage condos. And by the way, I did a podcast yesterday on this. We got into details. There's about you're getting about a 76% discount if you go after vintage in Sunny Isles versus the other stuff. And then you say, well, it might not be safe. I'm not sure. Keep in mind, there's something called terminations in Florida. Remember, maybe you've heard a realtor tell you, hey, if you don't buy this now, it's the last piece of land and they're not making anymore. That's BS. Why? Because you have an ability to make condos here by filing paperwork and doing a condo conversion of a rental. You also have the ability to terminate condos. Basically, you take that 300-page document, declaration of condominium, you rip it up and it reverts back to a rental, then they knock it down. So what some buyers are doing is they're going after this old stuff in a place like Sunny Isles, which is the worst condo market in submarket in all of South Florida. So you go into these old buildings, you buy a unit that's throwing off rent. Okay, remember the 1% rule. So whatever my value is, I need 1% of the rent. They buy them with the expectation, if it's a good piece of dirt, some developer downstream, once everything clears up, will buy it, terminate everybody, pay you per door to get the hell out, and then build something new on it. So there are plays related to that. It's all just a level of risk tolerance. But Sunny Isles Beach, terrible market, completely out of whack. Amount of supply on the market, north of 23 months of supply. 6 months is equilibrium. That is a market. Go in very cautiously. There will be opportunities because people are going to get forced to sell. Why? Because the pricing's coming in. I'm going off memory from yesterday. About 1.9 a door, 1.9 million, which means about 19 grand a month rent. And they're getting vicinity about 4 grand a month rent. So just think about that for some of the houses or multifamily you guys are looking at. That's how out of whack this marketplace is.
So Peter, let's follow that. We talked about Sunny Isles. Are all parts of town affected? Say Coral Gables, Coconut Grove, same story?
Tomas Regalado, property appraiser, he came out and said the Gables was the worst in terms of price drops. Well, up there with Miami Shores. But Miami Shores doesn't really have condos. You got places just to the north, like the Jockey Club and stuff like that. It's not really a concentrated market. But yes, all condos across the board are feeling this pressure because the psychology has changed. It's all about, it's like a fashion show. It's like a fad. Remember Bad Bunny was hot. And then there was that guy out of South Korea doing the dance where you got 1 billion views on YouTube. So something gets hot and everybody wants it. Twerking on police cars. Remember, everybody wanted to twerk on a police car on Ocean Drive during the pandemic. Now nobody's doing it. So it gets hot and then it doesn't. So right now, it's very hot to hate condominiums. and with good reason, because of the costs that have gone up tremendously. And as a result of that, everybody who wants to get out, the only way they can get out is to basically cut price. It doesn't matter how beautiful your kitchen is. It doesn't matter what the lobby smells like. These condos are commodities. They are salty snacks. They are coffee, they're orange juice, they're eggs, whatever they are, they're all going to trade universal. When they originally bring them to market, they tell you it's a special Starchitect and there's a brand and this and that. Once it hits the market, it retrades like a used car or anything else. So that's something very important to keep in mind. And by the way, Jim, if I could just add to that, so you know, we had 2021, we had the Surfside collapse. Okay, June of 2021. There's been legislation that follows. Now what's going on is you're starting to see these terminations, and these terminations, they're probably going to get prolonged because there's some legislation that went through Florida legislature that the governor may or may not sign. He says he will, but he hasn't thus far. So he effectively would give people an extra 2 years. Think about during the Great Recession. Remember President Obama? He had a program called, I think it was called HOPE, where if you were losing your house, you could get a forbearance, you could do a variety of different things. So if the state legislature gives everybody another 2 years, we're probably going to just extend it. But at this point, without the legislation, I would tell you we're going through this till 2031, simply because we have to terminate, we have to rip down all this old crap. 1.2 million condos in the state of Florida, 28,250 associations. South Florida, you got 610,000 condos, you got 13,000 associations. We got to clean up all this old stuff. Once we clean it up, then we got to bring in the pretty people with the booze to try to sell it. Oh, this is a great building and the lifestyle. Then we got to build the damn thing, which is going to take 3 to 5 years. So forecast out, we're going through a process, kind of like boring the tunnel to go in Miami or in Fort Lauderdale. Remember when they went under the New River? It's going to take us years. So we're probably looking at uncertainty probably till about 2031, maybe 2033 because of the legislation, which gives everybody extra time.
So speaking of time, Peter, is it a good time to do a long-term lease option strategy on vintage condos? Is anything happening in that realm?
You know, I think sellers are starting to get so beaten down. And why are they getting beaten down? Because you're seeing listings coming on the market. They're sitting on the market north of 6 months and counting no activity simply because they're overpriced. So I think it's getting to the time where you can lowball, you can offer anything, everything is negotiable. This is this time to start peppering them. And if any of you out there maybe are in the game, maybe you're brokers, or maybe you're a listing agent, or whatever the case may be, I would tell you, be very cautious about the listings you take on because you're going to waste time. I was talking to a colleague, and a colleague was telling me she's got 38 listings. Her average cost of a listing is $2,500. She says nothing's selling. She's got a few that are selling that are appropriately priced, but nothing's selling. So when you take out a listing, you might be burning $2,500 for Google AdWords and pictures and drones and all this type of stuff. And if it's not going to trade, what good is it? And then lo and behold, you're going to lose the listing in 6 months. So what I would tell people who are out there, pay attention to whether or not your property will sell, because if it's not priced appropriately, and forget all the BS, Convention and Visitor Bureau stuff, price it to sell. You have to be bold right now to sell and get people off the couch. Otherwise, people are going to be saying, well, I got Liberation Day, I got China, I got California. Nobody's going to move unless you force them to get off their couch and go and make a deal. And the only way you do that is to cut pricing. And I will tell you is once you cut a few prices in a building, the building goes into what's called a doom loop. Think about a plane. It's flying and it's starting to circle as it goes down. The question is, can the pilot grab the controls and take it back up? This, unfortunately, is what we saw during the Great Recession. This, unfortunately, is what the cliff is all about. A building goes into a death spiral, a doom loop, as they call it. And then what happens? Well, then it all starts to bottom out. I will tell you a tidbit to that. Down in greater downtown Miami, there's a building called The View is a rental. They converted it to condos. It's kind of a shitty building. It's laid out like a suburban thing, whatever. Not very nice. So units we were picking up during the Great Recession at $60,000 a door, $60,000 for one bed. Today, they're trying to get like 700,000. Just to give you context, this is how volatile the market could be. Houses, different story. Those are works of art. Condos, commodities. Gasoline, salty snacks, coffee, orange juice. So two separate worlds. I don't understand Jim's world because houses don't make sense to me because they're all works of art. You put them up on the wall, you put them on the mantle. Condos, you can understand that. I like to play that game because I'm one of those guys who goes into a store and I look per ounce, and that's the way you should be looking at condos. Commodities, houses, works of art, and you have to deal with an expert like Jim because that's way outside of my realm.
Okay, so I've got time for maybe one more question, but I'm going to flash Peter's contact information. We have got some really great questions here, Peter. What is the status of the University of Miami study with regard to the sinking building issue?
Well, what the status is from the industry, architects and developers will tell you, every building settles. It's settling. It's no big deal, which every building does settle. The thing is, the University of Miami study went in, and it came out in December of last year. This is all according to the Miami Herald and according to the report. But the study basically said they used satellite services out of I think the German satellite system, European satellite system, and basically they were trying to measure it from the space to kind of measure it. And what they found is that increasingly buildings were sinking quicker than they should have under normal settlements. This was all done by engineers. And by the way, this was in an industry journal, so it was peer reviewed by other scientists and researchers. So from what I'm told, the inspections have been broadened. And by the way, it came about as a result of Surfside. As part of the feds taking over the investigation, trying to figure out what the hell happened in Surfside, where 98 people died in $1 billion settlement. They reached out, and as the University of Miami researchers started to look into this, what they found is, oh shit, something's going on that we're not necessarily accustomed to, and we haven't seen. So they broadened it, and they ended up broadening it throughout the whole barrier island of Dade County, and they found 35 towers, many of them in Sunny Hills Beach. And what they found was not only were the buildings around sinking, but the new ones, when they came online, they were also sinking. So the study, from what I'm told, is being broadened to look at places like greater downtown Miami, as well as going up into Broward and Fort Lauderdale type of area. So watch for that. Industry says, they all settle. Scientists who peer reviewed the report, they say, no, we got something more significant here. So it's a great question, and it's something the industry is trying to kill and silence.
Okay. Alexa and I have a lot more on our little journey here. Not a lot
Sorry.
more, a little bit more. So I'm going to be giving Peter's information, but I want to wrap up with this, Peter. When we're talking about older condos, do you believe or even the newer ones, do you believe the rental restrictions for buyers having to wait 18 months to 2 years to rent are going to kind of go away?
So generally speaking, how it works is when you get to Dade County, Miami-Dade County is more open. When you get into Broward, many of the condos will say, listen, you need to own it 2 years before you can rent it. Same thing with Palm Beach County. So what you're likely to see occur or see happen is that some of these old timers, lack of a better word, who've owned forever and worry about community and I want to know everybody on my floor, as they start to get taken out and pushed out, watch for changes to the condo declaration. It's not an easy feat to do. You're probably more likely to see a termination of a building rather than actual changes. Pressure will be applied because think about it. Condos they trade on what kind of rent can it throw off. And if you have a building that's restricting, you got to live there 2 years or own it 2 years before you can rent it. That means your prices are going to have to collapse. So that's something I would sort of keep in mind. Termination probably more likely than a change. And my last tidbit, Jim, if I could just sneak that in, and I like to suck as much time as possible. If anybody wants to know if a building is should be terminated, real simple. Let me give you 3 rules. And Miami Herald wrote about it, and they detailed it, and it pissed off every single condo owner who was in some of these buildings. Rule number 1, surface parking. If you drive past the building, you're parking your car, and then you're walking in the door, you're not going to have any steps. Termination. Why? It's obsolete. It's underutilized land. Now they build 8-story pedestal. They put the tower on top. So if you see surface parking lot, check number 1, that's likely to get terminated because they're not maximizing. Step number 2, look at the balconies. Look at the balconies. If you see cement or you see rail, they either don't have the money to fix it and upgrade it because everybody wants glass from curb appeal perspective, or it's getting ready to go through a special assessment, a big special assessment, because they always got to change the balconies. That's the other one. And step number 3, does it have 100 units or less? Why do I say that? Because trying to do a termination, and I'm working on one now, trying to do a termination is like herding cats. If you get 300 people together who all own and they all got a brother-in-law and a sister and they talk to their neighbor and they heard Dr. Phil and all this type of stuff, you can't get it to go. So termination, 100 units or less, surface parking, and balconies that are not glass. If you want to play the game, you buy a unit in there and you wait for the developers to come and take you out. It'll probably be a few years, but that's a strategy. So sorry to go over my limits, Jim.
No, that's good. I'm showing Peter's information now, and hang on, people. We're going to talk about terminations in just a few moments, but I want to I want to put up Peter's information and thank you, thank you, thank you so much, as always, Peter, for delivering. Because look, at Next Million Mastermind, we think about the future. We think about not just real estate, but about what's going to happen in business and what people can do. We have so many amazing stories in Next Million Mastermind, and we're going to have you back at a Next Million Mastermind event if you'll come.
Jim, listen, you or VG reach out to me, I'm there. No questions asked. Just
All
no
right.
8 a.m.s. I don't do breakfast.
I
Thank
got it. I got it, Peter.
you.
Thank you. Thank you again. I'm leaving this up. And again, this will be on YouTube. Alexa will put in the chat where it will be on YouTube.
Absolutely.
So
And you guys, please get plugged in with Peter so that you can see those charts and all the thing that you want to see. So
So when I talk about Next Million Mastermind, I hope you were able to answer Alexa's survey. You know, what do you want in your life? You have to be able to think beyond 2025 to 2030. You have to be able to think. You want more money? Do you want less stress? Do you want to build a team? Of course, you have to build a team to accomplish your goals. You need a community of like-minded people. At Next Million Mastermind, that's what we've built. We have a guy who was an executive of L'Oreal. What does that mean? He was French, okay? But he is now in the roofing business. Now, oddly enough, he moved his lovely family to Coral Gables, and his roofing business was in Colorado. So by joining Next Million Mastermind, he got hooked up with data and marketing people, and now he has a business in Miami, as well as the lucrative one in um, in Colorado. Business is business. He proved that by going from L'Oreal to the roofing business, and that's what we're about. You know, this is me. I'm a former mortician. An accountant by trade, and I am in business for my family, for my my little partner looking at property. She's still with me. I live vicariously through old cars, but we all have our wants, and this is the Fab Five. Well, not really, but this is us. We're local business people. We're not from somewhere else. You don't have to go to Tulsa to see us. You don't have to go to San Antonio. We're here. Sean McMurray, Francisco Mago, many of you know Francisco, Viju Katungal, myself, and Anish Dave. Just in this group is an amazing amount of experience. But what you'll be surprised to find is the people in your groups. We have a woman who specializes in taking down 60 units or less. What did she come to us for? She wanted to develop a course so that other people, especially women, can do this for themselves. What has happened to her? She's now on social media every day. She's building her brand. There's a lot to this. We've done this. This is describing us over $1 billion in real estate. The owner of RealFacts, 100 years of real estate invested experience, massive network in real estate industry. And Peter is, of course, just one of our network contacts. Combined 50 years of technical experience. When you take Sean McMurray and Biju and Francisco, the marketing and technical expertise is beyond what you could imagine. And Sean lately is a certified business hypnotist. Those of you who've been around for a while remember the days when Marshall Silver came and levitated people. Now, I'm not sure Sean is going to levitate you, but he has that service, and you can actually talk to him once you join. And that's his social media experience. I want you to play just a moment of what our members are saying. See if I can get this going here.
Hi, my name is Michael Ruiz, and I am with the Robin Hoods of Real Estate. And before I joined the Next Mill Mastermind, I was very confused. If you're like me, I've been in the real estate business for over 40 years, and believe it or not, you would think that after 40 years, I knew what the heck I was doing. Well, no, not everybody does. And it's just got to the point where I needed some direction. So ever since I joined this group of mastermind experts, people that I have been admiring for decades, I am just in shock and honored to be here with the people that have been in the trenches doing everything that we've been wanting to do. These guys know exactly what to do. These guys have been doing it forever and ever. Now, one thing is important that I learned, and I have to come in here with a humble heart and put my ego aside and forget the fact that I've been doing this probably longer than they have, because they have a lot more success than I have. So you learn from people that have the success of people that are doing it. So don't waste time. Don't hesitate. Just stop fighting. Stop beating yourself up. Stop thinking about it so much. Stop thinking, should I or should I not? I'm telling you, you found your home. My hot seat. My hot seat was sizzling. My hot seat was really good. And I came prepared. So I hope that you come prepared with your hot seat and your questions and your thoughts and your challenges, because that's exactly what I did. If you're anything like me, you have so many opportunities, or maybe you have none. And these guys, out of nothing, they can either help you visualize and see where you can find the opportunities, or if you are like me, probably that you have too many opportunities and you're just all over the place and you have the shiny object syndrome, or it's not just that they're just shiny, you just have a lot of opportunities. These guys were able to help me without a shadow of a doubt, laser focus, quickly tell me, you're wasting your time with that, and you shine on that, and that's where you have to be, and this is what you have to build. I mean, what can I say? You need that. You need to come to that mastermind. You need to come to that hot seat and let them tell you exactly what you need to do. Because they're doing it because they want what's best for you. Literally, you need to come to the next mastermind, next mill mastermind right away. You really do. Come check it out, and you're going to see the quality of people. And if you see me, come and say hello. Say, hey, Robin. Thanks. Talk to you guys later. Hi, my name is.
Now, not everyone's in real estate, as I said, but there are plenty of business people.
My name's Mike Johnston with Johnston Home Team. And before I joined the Next Millionaire Mastermind, I had my business is compartmentalized in many different areas. Since joining, I've been able to take those businesses and streamline them and put them in a future course of where I can actually take action and make them work much more efficiently. So part of the experience was doing the hot seat, which, you know, we all get a little bit nervous about. It's basically just taking everything that you have, talking about it, personal and business, and then getting feedback, which we're all afraid of, but sometimes it's necessary. And in this case, it was great for me. It really helped me align what my next steps are and what directions are to go to be able to turn what my ultimate goal is into residual income, and just put me on a path that's a lot more direction. So thank you guys. I appreciate it. And I'm looking forward to the next several meetings in the future. So thank you guys. Thank you for the Fab Five. Thank you for the Next Millionaire Mastermind experience. Hi, my name's Mike.
So look, I want you to think about where you want to be next year, 5 years from now. Next Million Mastermind means your first million or your next million. And in today's market, the next million means a lot. So I want you to think about what it's going to take. I don't care what business you're in. We have a gentleman who's in the car business. And he came to us because what? He's a former teacher. He's in the car business. He wholesales cars. But what did he want? He wanted a way to build a program to teach others to do this so that he has more passive income. And that's what we all want. We all want to be, whether you want to clip coupons on your bonds or collect rents or have a business that your children can take on or that you can sell. That's what you need to think about. And that's what we do in Next Million Mastermind. Here's just some of the benefits. We have a life strategy, which we'll learn about. Sean does a great job talking about this. The hot seat. You've heard Mike and Michael talk about this. It is, how many of you ever spent 45 minutes just talking about you? You've got a mother-in-law, you got the wife, the kids, the husband, people to chase about. You need to concentrate on you. The hot seat is your opportunity to not just free-for-all talk. We're going to help you prepare a PowerPoint presentation to say where you are, where you're going, and what help do you need. If you don't recognize what you need help with, then you're not going to get very far. That's the whole point of this. Through the exploration of that, I've seen so many wonderful things happen just as a result of the hot seat. The community meets once a month and the community contributes. What happens in the hot seat and in the monthly meetings is not just from the five of us. Gosh, I'm talking fast like Peter now. I got to stop. But it doesn't happen just because of the five of us. It happens because of the community. We have a woman who's been in the insurance adjusting business forever. She's now launching a new business, but what she has done in business has been so helpful to many of the others, whether they're in real estate or the title business or not. It just doesn't matter what business you're in when you join Next Million Mastermind. So there are 2 3-day events, right? That we do them twice a year, and we have speakers, but most of it is focused on you and your 45-minute hot seat, you and your interaction with the other people at lunch and at dinner to get past where you have stumbled and where you want to go. We have the monthly group calls, daily community support. You have access to us all the time. And the strategy, here's what we offer you. And we're going to do the same spiel that everybody does about the value, but it is value. The life strategy is worth $100,000 information requirement analysis. This is typically with Francisco, who is the maven of information and an amazing AI person. You get the elite private Facebook community group. When you're within Next Mill Mastermind, what happens there stays there. We have a private Facebook community for you and your all those in our group. Dria's partner system, a $4,500 value. We offer free information on lead generation workshops, steps, and a tax deed workshop. BPM RIA offers a 2-day quick start for real estate investors, $695 value. Online marketing review with Sean McMurray, digital asset marketing. If you aren't in the modern age of marketing, you're going to not get anywhere. You get a membership to BPM RIA. Total 119,490 of benefits. The bonuses for today only. And we're going to get to the raffle winner in just a moment. 2 tickets to Turning Point. If you've never attended a Turning Point event, it's a Marshall Silver product. It's amazing. Those are for free for those who act today. A Success Accelerator coaching with any one of us. Custom recorded. I said about the hypnosis, right? Not levitating, but hypnosis. Self-hypnosis roadblock obliterator. Total $79.90 for anyone who asks today. It's really simple. I'll give you a QR code. You can visit nextmillmastermind.com, and it's NEXTMIL, by the way. The investment is 20 grand. Okay, but wait, there's more. Here's our guarantee. You have unlimited access to us, and your guarantee lasts until you tell us you've received the value intended to get out of Next Mill Mastermind. And I can tell you, in talking to our members, you will find the value is there. So again, let's kind of go over this again so that I can give you my offer. Because really, Marlena acted last month, and she got in, and she got the discount of the raffle, plus she got $127,000 worth of data, $15,000. I'll tell you, Marshall Silver's masterminds used to start at 60,000. They're more now. And it's a great community. Don't misunderstand me. Anish, Sean have done it. Others in our group have done it. Nothing wrong with it, but this is local. This is here, not California, not Nevada. So you can book now. You can find out more about it by scanning this. And I think that if you're serious, especially in this tumultuous time where we are now, where we find ourselves, not just in real estate, in any kind of business you want to talk about. We have a couple of people in the Airbnb business. They have some really interesting insights about their future, about their past, and what they're doing now to make sure they have a future. So I want you to think about this. Now, Alexa, I want to do the raffle winner, but I want to offer something more
Ooh.
others. Okay? Let's start with the raffle winner, Alexa.
All right, all right. Our raffle winner is for the $2,000 discount off the Mastermind membership. It is Rick A. Congratulations, Rick. Woo, woo. I'll be getting
So
in touch
Rick,
with you
I
and
hope
make
you'll
sure you
take
can find.
advantage of this. But I want to make one more offer because Rick will probably apply today, just as Marlena did last month. But I don't want you to feel left out. We'll offer the discount to the first three people, that includes Rick, if he chooses to do it. But if Rick doesn't, you can get his place. So we're going to offer the $2,000 discount to the first three who apply today. It's really simple. Scan it, do it, you're done. Our next event, well, actually, our next event is the first of every month when we have our monthly call. But our 3-day event is the week of September 8th. And we'll do another event in March. You're entitled to 2 events. The events are breathtaking, very powerful. You'll meet powerful women and powerful men who are making a difference in their lives and creating a legacy for their family. So I want to thank you all for spending time today and taking time to think about yourself and your future. And I want to tell you, you need more of that. You need more of that so that you can think about terminations, so that you can think about how to put together a group to buy, for example, an old condo building that meet the 3 criteria that Peter mentioned. How exciting would that be? How exciting would it be to be around people who think that way about business, whether it's real estate, whether it's dry cleaning, it doesn't matter. But that's the environment you need to discover for yourself, and you need to be there. So, Alexa, let's wrap it up and tell them we'll see them again.
Yes, and I don't know if we want to keep answering some more Q&A questions. We have like 10 more minutes, but you guys, please, like I was mentioning in the chat, I was blowing you guys up in the chat. This replay will be available on our YouTube channel within 24 hours, so please review the replay. Like Peter just dropped so much on us today. Like, oh my gosh, I need you guys to get plugged in with him, follow him on social media, get on his website, go find out when he does his tours, all of the above. So make sure you find him, and I'll be sure to send each and every one of you a thank you email at the end of the webinar. Give me like 5 minutes when we tune off of here. I'll send you guys an email from info@nextmillmastermind.com and get you guys all plugged in. But congrats, Rick. And I mean, we have 10 more minutes if you guys want to keep hitting.
Okay, so Alexa, let's do this. Peter, I see you're still there. How about we do a couple more questions and allow Peter to elucidate just a little bit, okay?
Yes, yes,
This,
please.
this, this is a bonus. Now, I hope you guys, you can go to nextmillmastermind.com and apply there. So let's do this.
You can't get enough of me, huh? I'm still
They
here.
Maybe not,
love
Peter.
you, Peter. They love you.
You have a
I even
new
had more
fan. You have a
caffeine,
new
so watch
fan.
out. I'm gonna go faster now.
Okay, good, because we only got 10 minutes, so go.
All right, all right. So I guess some things I would just sort of throw out there to people. A lot of people say, listen, I want to buy a condo because I'm gonna live there and I'm gonna do this and I'm gonna do that. Okay. What I would tell you is do the opposite. And what I mean by that is buy a property you're not gonna live in and rent a property you want to live in, but you don't want to own. And what do I mean by that? Now, it seems kind of it doesn't seem like it makes sense, but here's the key. If you're looking at a condo, it's all about square footage. Remember I mentioned to you, go into the bathroom, take a look around, you're paying $1.22 a foot on the maintenance, or you're paying $7.12 a foot on the actual purchase price. So the key is when you're looking for a condo, you don't want hallways in your unit. No hallways. Hallways are wasted space. You're paying for it. Maintenance, property taxes. Another thing you don't want in a condo, remember, as an investment, you don't want a swimming pool. You don't want a gym. You want no amenities. Why? Amenities mean higher maintenance fees. So what you do is you buy in a building you wouldn't live in. It's going to be tight. It's going to be small. Keep in mind now, a 1-bed's about 750 square feet. A 2-bed's about 1,000. Back in the day, a 1-bed would be 1,200 square feet. So you want to buy those tight units, and then you turn around the money you're making off of your condo. You turn around and you rent that 1,200 square foot 1-bed, and you know your landlord is going to be paying you to live in that unit because that landlord is not covering the cost. So that might be a little bit of a strategy to kind of consider. So small is better. Ideally, you pick up a condo that's 500 square feet. Why? Because a renter is going to pay what a renter is going to pay on the rent. Renters do not look at price per square foot. They look at price per month. You as an investor, you need to focus on price per square foot. And more importantly, what can I rent it for? You see circumstances, situations where 500 square foot studio is getting $3,000 a month. You do some rough numbers there. You're saying, okay, this can actually make sense. And would you live in it? No, you're not going to live in it yourself. You're going to go and you're going to rent that 1,200 square foot one bed or a 3,000 square foot two bed, because those numbers will never make sense. The more luxurious the property, the less likely it is in order to make sense. So you want something that's nice and solid. You want the generic product, the white label. You don't want the name brand stuff. The name brand stuff you rent in. The stuff you own is generic. Why? Numbers, maintenance fees, property taxes. You might not get the same appreciation along the way, but what inevitably happens is when markets go up, everybody gets pulled along with them. And so that I would say would be a key point. Another key point to sort of consider if you are going to play the condo game, look at creating a niche. I knew a guy who had a niche probably 15, 20 years ago. He was buying penthouse condo hotels. That's all he bought. So he built a portfolio of all penthouse condo hotels. Now he had an ability to put it all together. He had an ability to finance it almost as like a package. And he had the ability to kind of rent everything at once. So whatever you're buying, stick to your lane. Stay in a space. Maybe you want studios. Maybe you want one beds. Maybe you only want Pompano, but dominate an area. Don't be buying everything across the board, and come up with fundamentals, and do not veer away from your fundamentals, even though all your neighbors, your friends, your family members are going to tell you, well, we're the gateway to Latin America. It's 1,000 people a day. You can twerk on a police car. All of that type of stuff, just disregard it. Do not listen to the other people. Listen to the people you want to be like. Do not listen to the people who are probably making mistakes. So that would be a tidbit I would sort of throw out there. Those are just some of the key issues that jump out to me. So Jim, Alexa, I don't know, or the audience, I don't know if you guys have any other questions, but I wanted to kind of lay that out.
In relation to that, Peter, I want to ask one more question that was put in. And at first, this may take you aback, but let's think about association fees. And
Yes.
the question was, can association fees ever decrease, and what will cause that? So maybe instead of decrease, what will make it go up less? What do we need to look for in an association in terms of association fees? What are the telltale signs that they're too high, that they're maybe going down, or that they're going to go up?
Okay, so generally speaking, the condo association game, it's run by a couple different, I'd call them warlords. These are these property management companies that kind of run it all. Associations can self-manage, but that's always it doesn't work out well. So they go to these third parties come in, and there's one called First Service. They're one of the biggest in the country. They're also in Canada as well. They come out with a report in August. They came out with last year. We took a look at it, and I would encourage everybody to check it out. The name of the report is called Baseline. Yeah, I think it was benchmark. It's called benchmark. They say don't use our numbers as a benchmark, but we're going to call it benchmark. So that'll give you a good assessment as to what's going on. But generally speaking, there's some general rules. You kind of need to know what is the norm. Like for instance, when you pay your maintenance fee, I think the figure is 4 to 5% goes to the property management company. That's what they're collecting right off the bat. Now, if you go into a condo and the property management fee is only 1%, you say, okay, maybe something good is going on here. Or if you see a property management fee is 8 or 9%, you know they're getting bilked most likely. The insurance should be about 22% or so. If you see your insurance in your building is too high, too low, it's a good telltale sign. So I would refer you to this benchmark study. It comes out by First Service. You can just simply get online, type in First Service, and type in benchmark. You're going to be able to get it. But do condo fees ever go down? The answer is no. It's kind of like governments. Once governments get money, they don't want to any way reduce it. Now, what I will tell you, some ways you can lower the ultimate burn is much like you do with a house. If you make certain changes, your insurance might come down. Keep in mind, insurance is about 22% of your maintenance fees. So if you replace the roof, if you replace the windows, maybe you get rid of some of these balconies, you reinforce them, you do other things, you might actually start to see the insurance come down. The other stuff is probably not likely to come down unless the condo association has the ability. Maybe the condo is, it's got a huge lot and the building is on one side and the other side is surface parking. If that condo can carve out and sell off the parking, they might be able to throw some cash in to energize the association. And then in a circumstance like that, I could see it come down. But what I will tell you is if anybody's buying new construction, the amenities and the services being offered by that developer, they are not going to pencil out, meaning the developer is subsidizing all of these services on the way in, and they're telling you a maintenance fee, which is just plain out wrong. Once the association grabs control, once a certain percentage of the building is sold, and now the association gets to run itself, it's kind of like taking the training wheels off. What inevitably happens is the association realizes that all of these services, if they want to continue them, they're going to have to check up the maintenance fee, or more likely, they're going to cut the services. So I would tell you, if you're buying new construction, I would almost encourage you to go in year 2. Why? The building's been settled in terms of the structure, the vibe, maybe even the the actual existence of it, and you're going to get a real good assessment as to what does it really cost to live in this thing. But remember, 10-year mark, every 10 years you're getting a special assessment. There's no way around it. So when you go looking at a building, look at the age. What was the certificate of occupancy? You can find that by going to Miami-Dade property appraiser records. Simply look it up, look at year built. That will give you the certificate of occupancy date, and from there just calculate. Anybody looking to sell in year 8, knowing in year 10 you're going to get a special assessment, be aware of that. You're not smarter than the other people out there. They might be trying to get out, and you might be getting yourself into a value trap. So year first, then you look at location, because you want to know if you can play the game or not play the game. But ideally, between 11 and I'd say 22, that's the prime of one of these buildings. Once you go north of 30, just assume every 10 years you're going to get a special assessment. So you need to buy right. And what is buying right? I would tell you all pricing going forward, go off of 2019 pricing. Discount everything that's occurred in the last 6 years, throw it out the window. It's all fake. It's all transitory. Beginning of this year, I made a call and I pissed off a lot of people in the industry. I called a 40% price drop in condo prices from pandemic highs. And everybody said, you're crazy. He's hyperbolic. He's Chicken Little. Now, what was my 40% price drop called off of? It was based off going to 2019 pricing. That's how much we went up. So go off of 19. Make your offers based on 2019 pricing on the condo side. Single family, couldn't tell you. Don't pay attention to it. I only pay attention to condos, just to give you perspective. And if you don't know if it's the right time to buy, real simple, 1% rule. What can I get in rent? That's my value. That's the real number. So next time you're at a party and somebody's bragging about they bought this condo for 300 grand and it's worth 1.3 million today, just ask them, so if you were to rent it, what could you get for it? Knowing if it's worth 1.3, they're going to tell you 13 grand a month. If they tell you they're getting 2,500, it's really worth $250,000. So just a real easy way to do it. Now, the rule doesn't work perfectly, but again, it gives you a focus and an idea. And the thing I learned from the Great Recession, we were playing, and we were trying to buy product before the feds were shutting down banks. Banks wanted to unload this stuff. So we were buying stuff far below what it cost to build. What I will tell you is there's not going to be like fireworks at the right time. There's not going to be an announcement. There's not going to be bugles saying this is the right time. The numbers are going to make sense. When your numbers make sense, that's the time to pull the trigger, and do not listen to anybody else that you do not want to be like. Listen to the people you want to be like, and chances are you're going to do very well. And everybody will be a naysayer at first. Doesn't make sense. It's a condo. It's this and that. Years later, they'll be like, "Oh, you did well." Jim. Every time I come to your meetings, I always have somebody come up to me afterwards and say, "Listen, you were talking in the Great Recession. I thought you were full of it, blah, 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 but I decided to kind of roll the dice with you and, use some of the things you said, and I'll be damned if it didn't play out." Jim, every single time I come and speak in Miami Shores, I always have people come up to me and say, "Listen, you were dead on." Or other people will say, "Listen, you told me to sell. I didn't think it was worth selling, but I decided to go forward and sell it." And they will rave and thank me for helping them to get out before they ultimately went down with the sinking ship. Nobody wants to be the last rat on the ship as it's going down.
All right, Peter, as always, the last couple of minutes are the golden minutes. This will be on the recording for all of you to get. Peter, we're going to sign off now. Alexa, we're going to sign off. I want to thank everyone for coming. And I want to share real quickly the code again, and thank all of you who stuck with us to the end. You got a lot of great value. Thanks a lot. See you guys later.
Thank you, guys. We'll see you week and a half. We'll see you not this week, not next week, but the week after that. So have a great rest of the week. And thank you, Peter. That was so good. Like, coming from somebody that has no experience in condos, I am like, now I feel like equipped with enough knowledge to at least carry a conversation. And I'm really grateful, and we'll definitely be following you and getting in touch on your website and everything. So thank you guys so much for joining us. We will see you on the next one. Have a great day. Bye.